Hey guys, what's going on? BMcG here, and today we're here to talk about my rank 3 Mole Man. So I got this dude from the Omega Days event. He was the character that I really wanted, and he was the only character I didn't get out of the Omega Days crystals. So what I decided to do was get the selector. I chose Mole Man. I took him up to rank 3 with the Omega Days rank up gem, as well as dumping the signature stones from the Omega Days event into Mole Man. I wanted to go all in on Mole Man. My skill roster is lacking, and I think the 7-star skill roster as a whole is lacking, and Mole Man is just really powerful. He might be one of the best, if not the best skill 7-star now. I might get some hate for that opinion, but hey, it is what it is. I think he is amazing, and his signature ability is really solid for defense. It's also great for questing because, he's very good with the recoil masteries. He'll shrug off the bleed and poison at the start of the fight. And then as you lose health with his signature ability, you're essentially dealing more damage. You gain extra crit damage rating while unstoppable, as well as extra attack increase based on missing health. So as you lose health, you're just going to be dealing more damage. So here is just like a general damage showcase against Labyrinth Red Hulk, just to show you guys what he can do and how solid his damage really is. And this is with recoils. We are going to be mixing the showcase up a bit. We're going to have some recoil, some non-recoil. But I believe this was like 90 seconds for 1.5 million health. Yeah, it's 90 seconds on the spot. So I think that's pretty sweet. Next up, we've got Rhino in Realm of Legends, and we are starting at 12% health. And I just wanted to show you how high his damage can get with recoils and super low health. Keep an eye on how many hits we do at the end of the fight. That was a 56k heavy attack, and that's a guaranteed crit. And it's showing you how important that crit damage rating is from the signature ability. Right here, I ate a heavy attack because I stink. And then right here we go for the special 2. The unstoppable is paused during the special 2, and that's pretty much enough to sort this fight out. And this was just recoil. I can't remember if we're boosted or not. I know we're boosted later in the video for a Necropolis solo, but we'll get into that when we get into that. Because we're going into Battlegrounds now. So this is a rank 5 Ascended Photon. Arguably harder than the 7-star because the higher sig means higher chance to place all these debuffs on us. But as you guys are seeing, we're just purifying these. We are ready for Frenzy. And the only thing that I don't like about this matchup is that Mole Man has negative energy resistance. And he gains increased physical resistance for each mole mass. Photon is primarily energy damage, so we have no way to counter her energy damage that she's bringing. We're actually taking more damage than we would against most champions. But this is just me playing super reckless and seeing what I can get away with. And for someone who is bleed immune, I think 39 seconds is pretty solid. I mean, that was just shy of 49,000 points. I don't think there's much to complain about there. We're not going to have much in terms of Battlegrounds footage because the metas were not very friendly to Mole Man in my opinion. And then a couple of the other metas, they weren't very cool for like showing just like a practical showcase because of like arms race. It really juices up a lot of attackers. So I'm really going to try to minimize how many of those I show. But I think we have one fight from like three of the each different metas. I believe this is the victory track. We also have one from arms race, and then we also have one from I think the first week of the Gladiator circuit with the ebb and flow knockdown. We had a little lag spike during that special 2 there from Rintra, but yeah, I think Mole Man is kind of solid for Rintra. I just wanted to go against someone who could bleed a lot. This was during my climb to the Gladiator circuit, so I can't really pick and choose who I'm going up against. But I did want to show just how Mole Man does with these frequent knockdowns against Rintra. You obviously want to knock down Rintra a lot to keep control of his mystical charges. But Rintra's got one of the higher health pools in the game, and we took him down in 70 seconds. Granted, it was a 7-star rank 3 versus a 6-star rank 5. Not that great, but it was fine enough, and I believe we did win the round there. Next up, we've got Maestro. This is a rank 2 Maestro in the arms race meta, so we both start with a bar of power. and we're gonna be cooking here. As you guys can see, we bait a medium attack, so he makes us go unstoppable. So we just get that extra crit rating or crit damage rating from the signature ability. And yeah, that was like almost all his health pool. If that was any other champion, I think they would have died, because Maestro has like the second highest health pool in the game. And if you guys are paying attention, our heavy attacks are still granting mole mass, which means that this fight can be done in other metas. It's not going to be the best fight, it's not going to be the fastest one, but it can be done, because Mole Man's juicy damage comes from the special 2 with the guaranteed crits during Frenzy, and if you still ramp your mass up with your heavy attacks, you're going to be doing pretty solid against Maestro. But the only thing is, Maestro has the energy damage, so you got to be wary of that. Next up, we've got a Quicksilver in Alliance War, and I just wanted to show you guys how nuts Mole Man is as an attacker in Alliance War. Quicksilver has some really annoying mechanics like that evade, but the really cool thing about Mole Man is that guaranteed crits counter Quicksilver's evade pretty much permanently. After a certain point, slow doesn't work against Quicksilver, and yeah, that was less than 20 seconds for a fight. That was pretty nuts. And the cool thing about Mole Man there is that he just felt like such an unstoppable force. It's like Quicksilver heavied into us and we just resisted it. You know, stand your ground is a must for Mole Man, because that allows Mole Man to block unblockable attacks when he has enough monster mass. But now we're getting to some story content. So this node, I believe, is an 8.4, and it's a fun one. Essentially, you want to block the opponent's special attacks, and when you do so, that will give you fury buffs, and that will increase your damage significantly. They also place a petrify on special attack activation, so that would reduce the regeneration rate that we have from this healer hide node. But it really doesn't matter, because we are just dealing some nasty damage here, and we're just playing risky. I'm not too worried about anything. We're able to get the striker, you know, stand up intercept there. We got lucky. But yeah, 31 seconds for a late Act 8 health pool. Not too shabby in my opinion, especially with all these nodes that are helping us out. But we've got a Spidey 2099 on these same nodes. So we are pushing this guy to a special 2. That would allow us to block a bunch of hits. That gives us 4 hits. I believe his special 1 only has like 3 hits. So that was like the most amount of, you know, fury buffs that we can get there. Doesn't really matter, because we have class advantage, and we're still just doing some really strong damage here. And we're just going to let him tick down from bleed. So yeah, I think that was like 40 something seconds, 32 actually. Next up, we've got Nick Fury on this node. And Mole Man, surprisingly enough, is a really good counter to Nick Fury on this node set. Maybe a really good counter in general, because if Nick Fury throws his special 1 and that pushes him to be unblockable, if you're running stand your ground and you have enough mole mass, you will be able to block the unblockable hit. And this will also allow us to just block his basic attacks too. So it's a really underlooked ability that Mole Man has, because he doesn't care about unblockable hits at all. Like, it's really sweet. And I don't know if any other character I don't think any other character works the way he does with blocking unblockable hits, because he needs stand your ground to do so, and then he just ignores the unblockable hit, which I think is just amazing. I love it so much. For a while, I was complaining that a lot of skill champions cannot block unblockable attacks, because in Alliance War, it would be really annoying that some champs would be placed on like buffet over time and then vigorous assault, and then, you know, they would be able to, you know, have unblockable attacks, especially science champions, because they don't have a lot of counters that can block their unblockable attacks. And Mole Man is able to do that. Which took me a long time to actually get to saying that, but it is what it is. But yeah, this node set was a lot of fun. I believe when I did my rank 3 onslaught showcase, we took him here, and these fights are pretty much done in like one special 2, maybe a special 1, then special 2. So I think this was a longer fight because we're fighting against 2 health pools, but still really solid there in my opinion. Next up, we have Abomination. And this node set is very similar to the previous one. The only difference is that there's steady build up unblockable and parry vulnerability. So there will be extra damage via fury buffs again, which you're going to see a lot in questing content in general. But this is a really cool showing of how Mole Man works against steady buildup, because we're pretty much permanently unblockable while we are outside of Frenzy. And then once we're in Frenzy, we could just try to nuke this dude down. Because right there, now we're in Frenzy, we're just gonna... I wanted to use my special too, but we didn't. I just need to bait a dash attack here, and then we'll go in, drop the special 2, and that is above 100,000 damage, which is really solid because it's all guaranteed crits. The crits will bypass some armor. I think it's up to like 80% is what it is, which is just really solid. And you know, right there I should have just dropped the special 2, but now we do it here, and Abomination's done. That fight did show one of the biggest flaws in Mole Man, is that when he has Frenzy active and he no longer has like the green passives there, you lose all debuff control. So you gotta be ready to nuke the opponent down and, you know, take them down before they can kill you with their debuffs. So he's good for debuff matchups, but he's also a bit risky because you gotta be careful and make sure that you you know, kill them before their debuffs become an actual problem. Without using certain synergies, you could also manage your mole mass, so you can keep, you know, baiting attacks that will hit your block, consume a mole mass, make you go unstoppable, and that would allow you to stay within or outside of Frenzy. But considering that you trigger Frenzy, you know, after 5 mole mass, it's really impractical to use Mole Man in that form. And I like to just use him for what he's best at, in my opinion, and that's damage. And, you know, playing kind of risky, so to say. It's just, you know, he's playing... when you play Mole Man, you don't care if you get hit, because if you get hit and you have, you know, him awaken and higher sig, it's just extra damage if you get hit. So that's why I like using Mole Man in quests, because he just has like an open-ended kit. He has shock immunity, he's got some purify, and then as he's purifying, that will ramp him up, and once he's ramped up ready to go, he's gonna be doing a lot of damage. And if you get chipped down because you're outside of your debuff control, you know, mode, it doesn't really matter because you're gonna be dealing extra damage anyways. So yeah, Red Goblin is done here. We're just gonna use a little bit more basic attacks, and he is gone. So yeah, he handled that lane pretty fine. The only threat there was Abomination, because he gains increased chance to poison us when we inflict him with bleed. But this showcase here probably is the best showcase of Mole Man's kit here. There's Cage Rattler, which we're going to try to ignore pretty much completely. There's Escalating Assault, there's Foresight, and then the other node that we have is Make a Stand, so the opponent has a protection, and that goes on cooldown when you knock them down. And this is just going to showcase every beautiful thing about Mole Man's kit. I sound like a super nerd right now, but if you're this far into the video, you're probably a nerd with me, so thank you for hanging out with me. But Mole Man has easy access to Intercept, because you can essentially use the Mole Mass as a counter punch. There's also the Unblockable from the node, and the Unblockable from the node can be countered via Mole Mass. And once we trigger Frenzy, we don't like completely lose our Mole Mass when taking an unblockable hit. We drop the special 3 there just because we get pushed to it, but it really doesn't matter because it just maxes out our Frenzy, which is going to give us currency to block unblockable attacks. But now we can just use our Unstoppable from Mole Mass consumption to give us easy access to intercepts. So as you guys see here, I do a couple hits, dash back, bait a hit into the block, and immediately interrupt it. That counts as an intercept, and it's such a safe way to intercept the opponent. And like, if there's any fight that I can point to and say this is where, like, this is how Mole Man shines and what he's good at, it's that Void fight right there, because he counters Unblockable, he counters Make a Stand because you can just bait a dash, go unstoppable, drop a heavy attack while unstoppable, and that puts Make a Stand on cooldown. You can use the Monster Mass, like I'm saying, or the Mole Mass to go unstoppable and get the intercept from Foresight, which will massively increase your damage. Like as you see there, we got an intercept with the special 2 somehow, and that is just some nasty damage. The bleed damage was really solid, And yeah, it's just the perfect node set for Mole Man. I wouldn't be surprised if the quest designers, you know, took Mole Man into account and pretty much made a node set that he can just fully counter and fully ignore. I think right here, yep, we bait the dash attack and then we just punish him with a heavy attack. And, you know, this is a bit more like of a risky style to play him. I would not play Mole Man like this in Alliance War. There's just no way I would. It's too risky, but you can use the counter punch for intercepts that way. I just don't like, you know, taking blocked hits or, you know, taking hits while throwing the heavy attack. It's just a little risky, and sometimes the opponents in Alliance War hit very hard. So you got to be a bit more careful. I also wouldn't play him like that in Battlegrounds. But I started getting purposely hit here just to show you guys how strong his damage can be in these questing scenarios. So we get the intercept there, and it's just 23k medium crit. It's just really awesome. I really like Mole Man's kit. But we're going to close out the fight with a Necropolis solo. So we are going in with a full synergy team, pretty much just to boost our survivability and make it to where we don't really consume monster mass, you know, when we, you know, take a blocked hit. But we're going to start the fight by just getting punched. You guys are probably wondering what the hell I'm doing. And I tried this fight a couple of times. You want to be pretty much under 50% health. It will give you such an increase to your attack rating and your critical damage rating when unstoppable that like you need it to solo these fights, which honestly works out well because you can run recoils like I am. You'll shrug off those debuffs to start the fight, but then you also have so much willpower healing going on in this fight that you almost have to get hit on purpose to like lower your health again. It's like that much willpower. But I like Mole Man here because he can block Titania's haymakers. I thought this would be just like the perfect way to cap out this video, just to show you guys how consistent his ability to counter unblockable actually is. Because once you have Frenzy going and you've got Mole Mass going, you can just like you can do stuff like that. I almost swore I'm trying to keep these videos a bit more family friendly. But yeah, it's like Mole Man's nuts. Like he has so much utility baked into his kit, and a lot of people seem to like undervalue him, I guess. I think it's just because they don't like him much. But we're just gonna chip Titania down this whole fight. And if she throws a you know, unblockable special 2 with her haymaker when we're rooted later in this fight, really doesn't matter because Mole Man's just gonna block it and he's gonna be like, yeah, tough shit, Titania. Oh, I just swore, even though I said I'm gonna keep it family friendly. But yeah, it's just some really solid damage here. I really thought the bleed damage would be like the star of the show here. And while the bleed damage is doing a really solid amount, it's these critical hits that are really chipping her down, because like that was a 50k heavy attack. We just gotta drop a bunch of those and, you know, we'll be cooking. We gotta bait this special 2 here from Titania though. The only thing that sucks about this node set is that the weakness really hits Mole Man pretty decently. You know, if you dash back too many times with this Necropolis node, you are going to be inflicted with weaknesses, but she also inflicts them through her block on her special attacks, I believe. So, you know, it's kind of like our damage is like really reduced here because we have weakness on us pretty much the whole fight. But yeah, it doesn't really matter much because it doesn't seem to be that potent. It's just really noticeable if you allow it to you know, ramp up on yourself, because right there we had 3 weaknesses on us and we're still critting for a really solid amount on that special 2. And like I said, that's our bread and butter of this fight, are these critical hits. We're running recoil, we're fully boosted, we're purposely getting hit to max out our benefits from the signature ability. He's signature level 101, by the way, just so you guys are aware. And you know, this is about as good as a matchup you can get for Mole Man. So there's really not much else I have to say about Mole Man in general, or pretty much the video. I think everything speaks for itself. Mole Man is a, you know, he's a open-ended kit, I like to say. He doesn't have like a perfect play style, I guess. He's hard to slow down because he's not like, oh, I have to use my special 2 to get my damage. It's like, no, he's got guaranteed crits once you ramp him up with some heavy attacks, and it doesn't matter what specials you use. I'm actually kind of mad at myself that I didn't show off his special 1, because the special 1 gives you burst damage when the opponent is shocked, and you know, it's any critical hit or guaranteed critical hit. I think it's every critical hit. You inflict shock or burst damage when hitting a shocked opponent with its personal shock, which is really good, because if you can't get to the special 2 where most of your damage is, you can just loop special 1s and still be fine. And even if you can't loop any specials at all, let's say you're power locked at 0 bars of power, how rare that is, Mole Man is still going to cook. He's still gonna have really strong basic attacks and bleed damage. So yeah, let me know if you guys want to see more from Mole Man. Let me know your thoughts down below, because I'm always interested to read what you guys have to say about these showcases. I think I've finally gotten to a groove to where I like the duration of these videos. They're not too long, they're not too short. 20 to like 25 minutes. I know this one's going to be a little bit longer just because of the Necropolis solo, but I think that's a good, good duration for these videos. But yeah, I think I'm gonna let this fight play out. I don't think you guys need me in the bottom right corner anymore to explain what's going on. I think I've done a decent enough job explaining what we need to do here, and I will see you guys for the next video or stream. And keep an eye out, if you're watching this as it's like the day it's uploaded, keep an eye out on my channel for the rest of the week. We're doing skill week, so we're gonna have a showcase on Black Cat, a showcase on my rank 5 Ascended Night Thrasher, and then some video I haven't really planned yet, but we'll figure something out. I might do some fun like content creator beta stuff, but yeah, that's it for me. I'm gonna let this fight play out. Like I said, like and subscribe if you already haven't, and I will see you guys for the next video or stream. Peace out.